So stop me if you've ever been in this situation. You come up with an idea, you have a thought, you hypothesize or theorize something, and then you go to see if maybe anybody else has ever had this thought before. Is it something original to you, or has it been something that people have talked about in the past? And you end up finding out that it's something that some pretty influential people that have actually contributed to your style of writing and style of storytelling have been talking about for ages. I don't know about you guys, but it makes me feel like I'm on the right track for my career, which has been mostly self-taught this entire time. Like, I don't have degrees in art or writing. I have a 2-year degree in graphic design, but that's about it. So a lot of what I know and talk about comes from reading countless myths, stories, Wikipedia pages, and the sources of those pages. Internet archives of myths and psychologists and thinkers, and coming to some of the same conclusions as they did, just obviously years late to the party. I just really wish I had somebody who could check my Dunning-Kruger. Anyway, my latest little rabbit hole is about the Aurora Borealis. I had a theory already that was written in a monomyth where a character sees the wild hunt, but as it's described, it's like the spectral hunting party is dissolving out of and into the Aurora Borealis. So what the character actually witnessed is technically the Aurora Borealis, but it's being described as the wild hunt. But it's also technically the wild hunt because these myths in our world are real. This begs the question that the Aurora is the wild hunt, even as we see it today, even if a thing like that doesn't technically exist. So like I said, I had to look into seeing if anyone else had similar thought, or was I just reading too deep into something? It turns out, I'm not the only one who thinks this. So what are these things? Wild hunt, Aurora Borealis, what does it all mean? You've probably heard of them before, even on this channel, but never really in correlation until now. As I mentioned briefly, the wild hunt is a spectral hunting party that accompanies the Norse god Odin. This was a common myth among Northern, Eastern, and Western European societies from Germans, Celts, Slavic nations, and the Norse. Wild hunts involve a chase through the sky led by a mythological figure, followed by ghostly hunters, braying attack dogs, thundering steeds, and even birds of prey. It's most commonly associated with Odin. The leader of the hunt varies depending upon where it's being spotted. Theodoric the Great, king of the Ostrogoths, has been said to lead the wild hunt. The Danish king Valdemar Atterdag, Sigurd the Dragon Slayer. Ginap Nud from Welsh mythology is a psychopomp said to host the hunt on occasion, and has even been associated with characters from Abrahamic mythology as well. Herod, Cain, Gabriel, or broadly, the devil. Other attendants of the hunt may be elves, the good people, or even Valkyries. For someone to actually see the wild hunt was thought to predict disaster, war, death, famine, or even just the death of the witness. It was thought that if a person was to join the wild hunt, they could be whisked away to the fairy world, the afterlife, or the land of the dead. And anyone who died in their sleep on a night when the wild hunt was seen was said to be seen among the hunters next. The term Wildejagd was popularized by the goated comparative mythology writers, the brothers Grimm. Specifically, Jacob Grimm wrote in his Deutsche Mythologie stories that represented folklorist survival of Germanic paganism. Grimm brought together many different stories about the wild hunt from all across Germany. Northern regions called it a hunt. Southern regions referred to it as a host or army. Grimm expanded the potential leaders to include a variety of Germanic characters like Woden, Knecht Ruprecht, a companion of St. Nicholas comparable to Krampus, Berkhold, a male counterpart of Berka, the German goddess of winter, and Hulda. The Grimms say Berka was known, quote, precisely in those upper German regions where Hulda leaves off, in Swabia, in Alsace, in Switzerland, in Bavaria and Austria. According to Jacob Grimm, in 1882, Berka was spoken in Old High German in the 10th century as Frau Berka, and was thought to be a white-robed female spirit. She was known as a goddess who oversaw spinning and weaving, like myths of Hulda in continental German regions. He believes she was a feminine equivalent of Berkhold, and she was also sometimes leader of the Wild Hunt. So what do these regions all have in common? Their proximity to far northern climates. Northern and southernmost points on the planet fall within a ring developed by the Earth's magnetism called the auroral oval. When charged particles from the sun form a solar wind and crash into gases in the Earth's upper atmosphere, it excites atoms like oxygen and nitrogen, which then release photons as they return to low energy state. This cooldown period is what produces these awesome light displays. The sun is constantly emitting these streams of charged particles, and the Earth's magnetosphere acts like a shield. But some of these particles get trapped and are funneled toward magnetic poles. The more intense the solar flare, the more dramatic the aurora shows up, with the most intense and frequent auroras showing up during the peak of our sun's 11-year activity cycle, which should be sometime this year. The colors of different auroras are determined by different gases and altitudes. Green comes from oxygen, but at higher altitudes, oxygen becomes red, while blue and purple colors come from filtering of nitrogen. So if we look at this map of the auroral oval as it falls over Eurasia, you can see the entire region that believed in the Wild Hunt actually experiences auroras frequently. And what about the association with winter? Well, that's because it's hard to see auroras when the light is out, like straight up impossible. So having longer evenings in the winter means the likelihood that someone will see an aurora goes up. Aurora activity is a constant. Think of it a bit like Earth's personal light show, but in order to actually see the aurora, timing is everything. A dark, clear, cloudless sky is the most important factor. Cold nights mean less cloud cover, and longer nights during winter months especially. Auroral activity is also at its peak during the equinoxes, spring and autumn. This means that the best times to view auroras are around the months of March and September, which just so happens to coincide with important pagan holidays like Samhain, Yule, and Krampusnacht, times when the veil between the world and the next were said to be the thinnest, and when humans could be whisked away to join a host of fairy hunters, or even become a vampire. More on that later though. Don't worry, I'll get it out there while there's still time to chill your bones this season. As I said earlier in this video, I'm not alone in thinking there's some correlation between these two things, the Wild Hunt and the auroras. Richard P. Hector wrote a paper called Chasing the Aurora Borealis that covers mythological understandings from Iceland to Canada involving this phenomenon. Nina Chigletti writes, since time immemorial, the aurora, arguably the most magnificent, enigmatic, and provocative natural phenomena, has bewitched and fascinated mankind. Contemporary space research has greatly contributed to scientific comprehension of the aurora, yet many riddles exist unsolved and essential questions remain unanswered. It is intriguing to note that virtually all northern folklore contains references to the Aurora Borealis, or northern lights, dating back hundreds, if not thousands of centuries. Extensive knowledge and familiarity with the nature of ancient Nordic tribes contain venerable wisdom. It is a contemplation of these myths vis-a-vis contemporary science which often provides a source of inspiration for present-day interpretations. And in his paper, Folklore and the Aurora, written in 1975, Holsworth II notes the Scottish everlasting battle. They fight battles in the air as men do on earth. They may be heard and seen on clear, frosty nights, advancing and retreating, retreating and advancing against one another. Armies, hunts, battles in the sky, a clear frosty night, retreating and advancing on each other. Yeah, sounds like an Aurora to me. But what do you guys think? Are you starting to see the light, or am I off on some wild chase? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you want more style videos like this, hit the like button. I want to thank every one of you once again this week for coming to these ramblings of an anxiety-ridden pyromancer.
And her dragon best friend. We're a small team just doing our best to bring our stories we've loved for decades, and hope they're the kind you like too.
With a side info dump of psychology, lore, history, and social awareness.
If this is your first video, we hope you'll stay for another one. And maybe you could consider becoming a subscriber. We'd love to see you again.
Our subscribers can move mountains for a channel like this. The engagement we get just keeps growing each week. You guys are getting the word out and people are listening.
And we really can't express how grateful we are to see our passion project take off. 20 years of love and dedication are here laid bare. Help as much as you care to, but at least watch and talk with us.
Of course, we can't close out a video without giving a shout out to our patrons. Emily Masternardi,
Heinrich 28,
Pammy Poo,
JC Moreland,
Shadow Fox,
Charles Tam,
Arya Gamari,
Lundair Lumen. But also don't forget our channel members, Moose Now,
Jack McLeod,
Plebe 64 Potato,
Lundair Lumen,
7 Stars Sanctuary,
and Chained Furry, Many a Mickle Maximuckle.
See you next week.